All right. Thank you everyone for joining in to another exciting session for the Willard Brown International Business Leadership Series. Our session today is titled The Future of Project Management, and only fitting to have with us here Engineer Grace Najjar, Managing Director of the PMI Institute for the Middle East and North Africa region. She's here to share with us her international expertise in, on what's the latest in project management, especially given, of course, the recent changes we're all facing together, the challenges we're facing, whether again in crisis management or the steep engagement in digitalized, data for a lot of businesses that were not using it before. We've prepared a few talking points. So Engineer Najjar, you'll be speaking around, you have some slides and content for about 20-25 minutes. And then we'll also be looking to receive some questions from the audience in the Q&A session. Please write in the Q&A session, and I'll do my best to bring them forward. Right? Thank you. Thank you, Grace. Please.
Thank you so much, Sherwat. Thank you for having me. I'd like to thank the American University in Cairo for this great invitation. And at PMI, we are very much delighted to engage closely with a prestigious university like yours. And I'd like to thank everyone for taking the time to join us today. As mentioned, I think the new emergent work ecosystem today is pushing everyone to step up and to rise to the challenges that is driving all of us to be better project managers, to drive better outcomes, and within the right innovative skill set and mindset. So I think project managers more than ever before are challenged to be the change makers of tomorrow so that they can build back better a new reality where we live in a constant change and constant technological advancements. So I'm excited today to share with you Pmi Strategy and Approach and give you some insights on how PMI is evolving and leading by example, and how the whole project management role is transforming. And with that, everyone needs to be better equipped so that we can drive more and more successful projects. So I'll be speaking about the whole revolution that is revolving around the project management landscape. So let's get into it. At PMI, next slide, we do make reality. And we do so by designing a wide range of products and offerings to help individuals at all levels deal with any challenge that they may encounter. So in summary, the whole project management is all about making ideas into reality, including building a bridge or developing a vaccine or organizing and delivering an amazing ceremony like the one we attended recently in Cairo. So I think the world requires more and more individuals with a diverse skill set and more people who are able to apply the right method at the right time with the right projects. So we are more and more facing a project economy, which has a growing importance of a project management as a skill and as a skill set for the future. So let us move on now to talk a bit more about PMI. For those who are not familiar with PMI, PMI is a 50-year-old organization, and I am very proud that we continue to evolve even after 50 years. Our aspiration is to be the place to go for all things related to projects and getting things done and making changes happen. So even for professionals who may not consider themselves to be traditional project managers, this is what PMI aspire for, to attract and to be the place. So we have this new regionalization model. I'm among 7 global regional heads. We make sure we enable and we integrate all of the great resources that PMI provide globally, be it standards, certification, online courses, thought leadership tools, and serious publication communities. We work closely with chapters. We have 300 plus around the world, 6 in the Middle East, North Africa. We work with thousands of volunteers around the world, especially to make sure that the project management is very much examined within organization and academia, and we sense what resonates, and we make sure that we advance the profession, and the project management is really key enabler for success and for changes. As we all know, in the Middle East, we have been investing wisely in preparation for the future. We see in our region very highly mature industries, the rise of mega investments and a high potential in leading projects and programs. So all of these require planning ahead, combining resources, investing in digital transformation, agile transformation, organizational transformation in all sectors, be it governmental, health, or infrastructure. Let's take a closer look. I know that most of the audience is from Egypt, a country which is close to my heart. So let us take a closer look and double click on the opportunities in Egypt in particular. So like the rest of the Middle East and GCC, Egypt is moving ahead with super mega project development, and the government seeks to enable the private sector. And I see also a key vital role for the academia, for universities like AUC, in effectively contributing to accelerate building talent, and with that, the economical growth through, be it, as I said, through budget or through talent towards make a project. And this is how Egypt is making reality. So the Suez Canal, for example, is the chapter, a new chapter in economical development in Egypt. And the new zone, which is described as being a super mega project, is aiming at becoming a global economical and logistic center. And we have all noticed in the past week how the critical importance globally and the disruption that unfortunately this could have caused, and how the strong leadership and how the management and managing such complex problem with a strong leadership, with a global coordination among stakeholders, with an agile thinking, flexible strategies could make us avoid a big disaster. So more and more we see how critical are such strategic location and even super mega project. And the other example I'd like to make is also on having Egypt not only a logistic center, but a digital hub globally, with a telco operator, one of the largest subsea cable operator in the region, also connecting through 10 Mediterranean Red Sea and more than 60 countries. And the examples go on, and I would like also to congratulate the opening, the fabulous ceremony of the National Museum of Civilization of Egypt, which the whole world attracted the whole world to such an amazing and fabulous event. So again, let us examine a bit how the role of project managers is evolving. As we know, every organization is going through change in a form or in another. So project managers are the change makers needed to operate within a changing environment. So we need proactively to drive change, to drive more of a change, a transformational offer, and what we call at PMI, turning ideas into reality. So with that said, project managers are now being asked to do more than simply execute project on time, on budget, and scope. So 10 years ago, we were simply having one approach we could replicate and scale from one project to another. But nowadays, even with same client, with same product, you need to be innovative. So there are much more demands that coming in. And every project manager, above any technical skills, they need to learn every day new ways of working and get things done. So with that said, PMI will support professional project managers by essentially skilling and upskilling them. And as you could see, we're expanding to a broader community. Instead of talking only to project managers and professionals, we're expanding to every change makers by helping them build the right skills and knowledge. So again, as mentioned, change makers, they are supposed to tackle diverse global challenges, but they do require a broader skill set with foundation in project management alongside any other skill set. So some of the challenges definitely are the quick digital and agile transformation that is happening around us. And as you could see in this PwC most recent study, it found that 79% of CEOs identified that lack of skills due to the advent of technologies is a threat to the business growth. So we can no longer consider talent development or skilling an option. This study also found that more than half of CEOs believe that skill gap, again, is impacting the innovation ability to innovate, and it's causing them to terminate project or delay project. So also McKinsey in its study demonstrate that project management as a skill set is an important factor in closing these gaps. And it proves why building your skills as a practitioner is vital, as I mentioned, is no longer an option for your personal success and that of your company. So at PMI, our mission is to empower change makers. So let us see how we're doing that to serve a wide range of leaders and change makers. From 5 to 75, PMI is expanding the product portfolio. We're not leaving our core. People are very much aware of the PMP and the previous focus of supporting PM professionals, but since we're expanding, we have developed a career framework, and this is definitely is important for the audience at a university who is looking to build a career versus a standalone certification or knowledge. So we have mapped and anchored our certification to a career path for professionals who want to develop and grow as they are seeking much more successful and rewarding career. So we believe that in order to make more impact, PMI needs to be the place every young generation, every next gen would look like any other professional, advanced or executive. So again, in terms of expanding our portfolio, as you could see, due to the evolving nature of this profession and the needs of skill-building change makers, we're now moving into time-honored offerings. So in specific areas, be it agile, technology or citizen development, problem solving, transformational or foundational transformation, PMI will remain the comprehensive resource and connection point for professionals. And directly, we're addressing the need of youth, as well as change makers with targeted offerings and experiences. So the choices now are many with PMI, and there are lots of opportunities to learn and to evolve as everyone aspires to reach the ladder, a growing ladder in the profession. There are lots of opportunities for youth, and PMI has put at the large scale a youth engagement strategy, and even in our region, we have a youth dedicated strategy. We have, as you all know, an education foundation, the arm at PMI, pmif.org, also focusing on the skills of tomorrow, supporting social impact and social community. In addition, we are sensing the youth, their aspiration, what do they perceive from an association like PMI. We also have lots of initiatives on how to grow the engagement at the youth level, be it by competition or even building some student club or many other opportunities just to attract the youth and prepare them early on for tomorrow and to be more competitive. So I already spoke about the student club, and which also the place where there are lots of interaction at an early stage. It's an opportunity, as I mentioned, to learn in campus some very important aspects around the project management. And as I mentioned, I think before, project management has been 50 years old in the making, and PMI is an association of membership. Through the membership, definitely you can have lots of value. I invite everyone to look at the projectmanagement.com at project PM standards.plus, where you can just with fingertip, you can just access case studies, research, blogs, articles around any specific topics. As you all know, there is the knowledge within the book, but there is the knowledge outside the book, what success looks like, what practitioners sense and feel, and what are the pain points nowadays. Next, please. As mentioned, the project management is evolving, and the role of a project manager is evolving along with the challenges. And definitely the standards of the project management has evolved itself to reflect the role of a changing project managers. So as you could see, we are now trying to identify different approach. So the project manager would be able to have more balance, more flexibility in choosing a predictive ways of working, adaptive or hybrid, So through the new Pmbok guide, we are giving much more flexibility, and we are allowing a range of approaches where we're not only focusing on deliverables, on outputs like the previous guide, but this Pmbok focus on the value, on getting things done, get the job done on principle versus process group. So I also invite everyone to have a look. As a member, you can download it digitally for free. The other innovative offering, if I still have a few minutes, the other few innovative offerings that I would like also to bring to your attention, as I mentioned, also look at all the projects that you have seen, be it at education. Within the March 2020, every academia, every university or school, they had to turn within short period of time their courses online, their examination online. So imagine that this project, just to put out the right platform to examine students online, how many projects entail just to make that happen? So for us, this has been a change or transformation to the education sector as a whole, right? So project managers nowadays are transformational leader. Even if you start on a project, but your aspiration is to transform, to execute strategies, transformational initiative to societies, as I mentioned, to environment, to the world economics. We're solving social reform problem, climate change, digital and rapid digitalization, and examples are many. So with that, every organization, every individual is in need for a proper approach or systematic change, a more holistic and people-centered perspective on how can we tackle that. So that being said, PMI has introduced an e-learning course called Organizational Transformation. It's a foundational, but there is a series. It can lead you to an advanced one. I also invite you to look at this course. Another offering, which is, again, supporting a digital transformation. We do not expect to have everyone in the room or in an organization being software developers. So we would like also to build the capabilities of the citizen development, those who will be supporting every transformation, supporting the software development with low code, no code platform, fast, effective, just be able to tailor an application, customize it as a user, and make the best out of this technological enablement. Also, I invite you to look at this course, which is currently available with a very discounted price. And again, we're facing problems every day. Problem is not anymore exceptional. So problem as part of every day at the project life cycle or even in the operational world. So we need to move to being better in finding solution in an ever-changing work environment. So we need to be able to have like sort of design thinking on how can we creative, how can we become a problem-solving practitioner. So I think this became a skill. Are you a practitioner or a problem-solving practitioner? So that's definitely would change 80-20 your capabilities within the organization. And be it by design thinking, as I mentioned, by lean, project management, multiplying hybrid mode of work, how can we bring in all of the stakeholders together, like the recent, super mega problem solving to the world that has happened and the way it was solved quickly. So I think we are all challenged to be better at solving problem remotely and with all the challenges and the constraints we live in this world. Also moving to a digital world, PMI has designed some platform where everyone doesn't need to go and read hundreds of pages of book. Within accessing this software, which is called Snippets, you can just have sort of bite-sized learning, a sort of learning that fits your schedule, where you can really value what project management practice means, and we can develop day after day your practitioner side on a project management landscape. The other, digital application, which also help you grow and close your skills gap, it allows you to self-assess what's your current skills, your personal path, and help you create more and more a personalized path according to your skills, to your goals, and to your interests. Finally, the other very interesting, and very innovative, informal project management platform It's sort of only 45 minutes digital course. It can guide you through a project just to get a flavor on how team can work together to launch a project in an effective ways of working, which is not accidental. So I see it very, very easy, very user-friendly. Just start. Its name is Kickoff. Just start practicing project management in a very easy way. So finally, I would like to close my session and then open it up to the questions and to more engagement. So I would like to mention that PMI is empowering the project economy in the digital era. So I would like to invite you to approach PMI, MENA, to approach all of the chapters in the region, and just to help you, accompany you in your journey, become better, future-ready project managers and leading changes within your organization, your country. And we believe that in order to succeed with this work ecosystem and the emerging changes that are happening, we need to be able to turn ideas into reality. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace. That was very actually informative, I have to say. And you do present a very diverse and wide portfolio of what PMI offers, and from an institution that has 50 years of history behind them, I think this is the least we expect, Mahtarami. All right. Right. So, and we got some good engagement from the audience, but I have some general questions. Maybe it could help answer some of the concerns. You mentioned, like, I think from like 8 to 75, offerings, or some kind of massive movement into new offerings related probably to competition. I have some questions coming up related to Google PMP and stuff like that. So I'm sure you responded with the right stuff, but in terms of enrollment, or especially regional enrollment and concerns, what kind of on the ground courses are more topic? I don't want to say courses, topical areas that you find relevant to the region, and you find that they would, create value right now, other than the wide diversity you just showed?
Yeah, excellent question. The region is, based on our data, is in need for core capabilities of foundational project management skills. Okay. So I believe that especially the data that we have and the research, as you know, PMI has a huge research arm. One of the largest addressable market when it comes to project management, even those who don't call themselves project managers, is wide in Egypt. And as you know, Egypt is bringing more of the resources when it comes to project managers, not only in Egypt, but around the Middle East. So with that said, I think the core foundation of what project management as a knowledge is still needed. And we see that in the public sector more than in the private sector. PMI, with all of these innovation, we're not leaving the core. So I would say we need to everyone start by understanding proper terminology and knowledge around what scoping means, what's the link between project, program, and strategy. So those are foundational principles. Those are what we call performance domain. What strategic alignment means. Like if you take 3 projects within an organization, project A, B, C, you need to know that project A helps with achieving 20% of my strategy A. Project B help achieve 10%. So with that, we can allocate investment properly. So we're no longer seeing project only within a timeline, 6 months, $1 million, this deliverables. So I think the principles of linking a project to the value, to the business acumen, to how much I'm achieving from a strategy, that's a key. You can no longer get a project management on board without knowing this investments is linked to which portfolio and how much percentage, so that we can report the reality. Because you could see wonderful bridge, but still traffic is going on. Still the socioeconomical aspects are not improving, or vice versa. You could see large investment in ERP, in finance, but we still have purchase order invoicing getting delayed. So that's why the benefit management concept of a project is important. You cannot learn that, Sherwat, unless you know the foundation, unless you go to an association like project management and you learn the standards of project management, standard of program management, what benefit means, what strategy mean again, what stakeholder engagement, all of these aspects. So that's number one. When you have this foundation, I believe that we can no longer ignore the agile concept. We need to know, when do we choose hybrid mode of working? When can I have a predictive, and you cannot stand 3-4 months building the requirement, whereby 4 months the technology will change and your requirement are no longer accurate. So with that, every team needs to learn to work together on a hybrid way of working where we engage multiple stakeholders. That's the agile and lean thinking. So multiple approaches are needed. So again, the agile aspect is a foundational for growth. Problem solving, and now from now on, I can ask everyone to reflect in the audience, where are you from the journey? For people who are more challenged with becoming a transformation leader, once you have the project management, the agile, this is where you are in the organization. If you are in the risk management department, you need the risk management certification, right? If you are in a transformation office, you might need to take on to learning more. If I am a project manager, I understand agile, but I am leading a transformation project, an e-service, okay? We're transforming. Imagine getting a license online, getting your driving license. Instead of getting it physically, you're getting it online. So it's a whole e-service, e-government service that is put in place. So if you want to understand what transformational aspect means, you need to take on the transformation. So again, it depends on where you are, what's your interest, what's your growth. But again, my belief and PMI's research is that start by foundational aspects of both project management and agile, and we're providing both. We still have the Agile Certification Professional, ACP, and you have the DA Discipline Agile series. It depends on if you want to take it as a career, you take it from being DA Scrum Master to coach to instructor. It depends on where you are. So I hope I answered the question, but let us not leave the core.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely went in that direction. That's where I was talking about because from the School of Business, which offers the most strategic management education to the region. Again, I have to say, whether through their MBA programs or their executive MBA programs and the undergrads. So strategic management is the default of what brings in the larger picture of the stakeholder approach as you would talk it. And we include a lot of modules in terms of change management, agility, of course, and transformational management in what we do. And we position project management in our curricula it's like the foundations, about how to begin something and how to measure performance. We do the risk element also. Don't you worry that if you go so much to the generic transformational side that you lose your core as an institution? I mean, who's your competition? And something like Google PMP, what are they offering, and are they doing that? And we all understand now that the rate of change requires, you can't just look at your unit, you have to look at it from the A, B, C strategy, what you are doing in light of the larger. But that's something, and being in control of the strategy of an institution, organization, or a country is different. And I don't know if there's some over-promising, with all due respect, to what PMI can do, because in the end, you might lose the core. I mean, that's still a concern, right?
Yeah. And I'm happy that I'm speaking to a professor and to someone at the academia. I can revert back the question to the academia in general. Do you think I would trade off my 5 years engineering with just a quick course, which might let me become within 3 months, 6 months, 1 year, a specialist in the field that I've studied over the 5 years? The answer is no. The educational campus with the curriculum would remain irrespective of how quick and the speed and the wonderful offering that the whole business school in the whole world is offering, and for free. So again, back to the importance of building a proper mindset and structure. I can't remember really the courses I've taken a long time ago in the engineering, and I might not have used them. By the time I left information system engineering, all of the programming tools and the software have been obsolete. And I remember the dean said, you might feel that you do not know anything when you leave, but you know much, and you not know what you know. So that's what I wanted to tell you, that I have this education that PMI is providing is similar to a core curriculum in the university. You cannot just leave it because you need a mindset. When you study the PMP, you immediately feel throughout the journey, and I'm talking as a testimonial, not as a PMI executive. As a testimonial, when I studied the PMP, I felt all over the journey that it was like a rotational. I moved from 0 to 180 degree I started feeling that mindset is really result-driven. Even when there is an event that is happening, only one day event, I was asking why we need that. What's the objective? So I started asking why, because before PMP, before project management, I was just starting executing. But the why, and look at the ceremony that has happened. You might have been able to do it in a totally different way. But you combine the advancement of the lighting, the wonderful lighting, the amazing the dance. So you integrated the music, lighting, culture, history. So all of these were objectives, right? So thinking objective was a base for me. Thinking risk, thinking budgets, the cost. So you cannot learn that just quickly. So that's why foundation is important, because a mindset is important. A pragmatic mindset thinking is important. And then you can add to it. You can say that I want a crash course. I learned industrial resolution I40 within a couple of months. That can happen. But if I haven't been an engineer, I wouldn't have been able to be quick at building the knowledge. So you learn how to learn, and foundation is important. Once you have your foundation, you become a quicker learner. And you know how to multiply and accelerate the aspect of any specialization. If you don't have the core, I don't think you get the best out of what's going on in the market. And as education, I'm sure you agree with me. Would you trade a 5 years curriculum with just quick? You add a crash core, yes, but you add it to the core.
Of course, and the transformational aspect does take time and does take,
and the mindset.
The mindset and remaining in a program for a longer time, but definitely. But maybe then you can answer also the question on, are you familiar with the Google PMP that's been coming up several times in the chat box? I have a lot of questions. I mean, you're in the industry. Do you know what they offer? Do you know how? I have someone saying from Ahmed Abu Zaid that project management with Google PMP, is it a good certification? They're asking your idea about it. And he's a doctor and he wants to know, is project management in healthcare, or should he just do a generic one or something in the healthcare field?
Actually, it's a very good question. I'll start by the last one about supporting the healthcare in terms of extension or publication related to healthcare. Not yet. The vision is there. We're starting rolling out a certification in construction. As you know, PMI has a limited resources and the demand is high, but I'm sure that healthcare now is becoming the key sector that every organization like PMI should look into it, and I'm sure it's gonna come soon, but it's not immediate, something that PMI is trying to provide specific offering for, where we believe that our generic, if I may call them the transformational, the citizen development, they will do definitely, they are pillar to all what's going on at the healthcare sector from the transformational aspects of the sector. In terms of Google, I know that PMI at the global level, we have an aspiration. Actually, we have a global executive council. It's been years that PMI is engaging closely with the largest top influential organization in the world, be it Amazon, IBM, Microsoft, or Google. I know that there are discussions around that. I don't have it now concretized. I cannot speak about it as we in this session, but PMI is welcoming every effort. We're joining our aspiration with PMI 4.0 with a new model is to have a coalition of association. We're working closely with all of the wonderful effort that has been done around the world from the project management landscape. So there are lots of initiatives that has been done, and this is part of our strategy to build upon the great things and initiative that has been done by other influential organizations, be it Google or others. So I think we have one vision. Our vision is to empower individual, organization, academia, and all of the channels to build better tomorrow and to build better change makers. And I believe every organization who is doing that is a partner of PMI.
Thank you. That was helpful. From Wael Abdelhamid, I think, how the business analyst position is linked to the project management. How do you, excellent. And how these positions are perceived in a career path perspective, because, you know, if you have those, where do you go?
I really like the question because I spent most of my consulting time before dedicating to PMI in being in the business analyst side. His question means a lot because one of the top 3 failures of a project, Ahmed, is lack of a proper business scoping and business analysts. And that's what makes PMI develop a certification, a professional business analyst. And I believe that it's an important chapter in the project management foundation or standards on how to clearly define the requirement and have the people who understand business, and we see it in an IT environment. You cannot just rely on, with all the respect, and I'm coming from information system engineering background, the IT, the conflict of interest, not of interest, of conflict of power between the IT and the business when there is a joint technological project. So that's why I would see the business analyst being the catalyst, linking, it's a very critical role, linking the business side of a project to every solution. And you cannot really disconnect those two. And I would see a business analyst sooner or later leading most of the aspects of a solution or of a product. You can definitely add the project management processes to it. I mean by that quality, stakeholders, procurement, but I would see, answering your question, business analysts being at the core of the link between the business and the solution. Otherwise, you deliver a product which is not needed or it's partially needed by the user.
Okay, thank you. I have a question about how, is there something specific you offer for a certain industry? Like we have the insurance industry, we have the healthcare. So how, is there like a matrix approach to how you approach this, like per industry, per topic? Because one, you just answered the digitalized and the transformational and the change leadership. And then you have the industry specific. How do you handle that diversity, that mix?
In terms of, first, our strategy is to get closer to the industry. We do believe with all the power of the Pmbok and the PMP, we cannot sustain without getting closer to the industry and having specific offerings. We did some research globally. As I mentioned, we have a major arm assessing and sensing the needs of the market. And we see that we witnessed and demonstrated that there is an evidence that the construction market is fragmented when it comes to knowledge. There are lots of pain points and there are lots of effort, even if you are an engineer, civil engineer, electrical mechanical engineer. With a PMP, it might not enough for topics related to dispute management, safety, the communication, the asset management, the facility management. Every engineer who is attending the course today knows that there are lots of specific modules which are absent in our Pmbok. So we would like to build, based on our research, we prioritize. As you know, we cannot do everything at the same time. It's a whole journey. Transforming PMI is a whole journey. We started by, I hope soon, by April, you would start seeing the first modules and foundational certification of a construction professional certification, which would help close the gap of what is needed to build at the same time an engineer, project manager in the construction field. And it's a series, again, PMI is moving to provide not only standalones, but it's going to be a series of a career, starting by being foundational for 5 years engineer up until providing an offering for a 15 years old and 20 years old engineer. So we started by that, and definitely the aspiration of PMI is to touch on the most critical industries as we move forward with our resources and sensing more and more the market. And the large investment, I could tell that it requires large investment because we're not doing it alone this time. We're engaging the key, super key mega player to sense and to voice the pain points and to test. So there is a totally different innovative approach on how we're building and designing this offering. And there are lots of other, by the way, don't restrict, we're not restricting to certification. You will be seeing, please stay connected with Standard Plus, with projectmanagement.com and PMI.org case studies link. You will see more and more some reference case studies, and in the region, in my business plan, especially coming from this region and aspiring to see stories. So you will see more and more big organizations speaking about the value of project management in efficiency in a specific sector. So, that's gonna come soon. As I said, because context matter, industry matter, we need to start publishing more on what's going on and what's the value inside every sector. So please keep your eye on all our platforms and all of this, so that you can hear more from bloggers and from practitioners around the application of project management in specific industry.
Okay, thank you. There seems to be, again, a scoping issue. Thank you, Rania Taha. What is exactly the definition? And again, I'm from this background. Would this work for me? Which program is right for me? These are all questions that are coming up. And I do want to, as Anna said, academic and a practitioner also, this is what we do at the School of Business. We're not just professors. We want to show that definitely the way career paths are lined up, even in academia now, we are very much responding to not locking you in certain discipline or a certain career path. So you have, members speaking from digital marketing all the way from engineering. The certain, engineer versus business person versus project manager are all getting, intervened, and the complexity in the job market is becoming very high. So, there's probably a portfolio of certificates or things that are on the website. I'm pretty sure you can check it out. And I tried to organize it in a matrix approach, Grace, but I mean, I don't know how you organize your website also or your offerings. But definitely, I'd recommend an open-mindedness in how what you think is good for you now and how it fits with what you're doing now to what the future of work is. Because we also study, and we have a whole initiative at the School of Business about the future of work and how the career paths or the career, the job descriptions are going to change, not in the coming 20 years, but in the coming 5 years, especially with the recent, crisis and job shift and remote working and all the stuff that's happening. So, sometimes there is not one right answer, and that's my take to a lot of questions, but I leave that question to you, Grace. How do you help the audience here select what's right for them?
Very good question. If you take 10 years ago or 50 years ago, one specialization could make you build a very rewarding career. We're no longer in that. And the good news is that academia is very much aware and mature, because even if you are a civil engineer, you might see yourself in actuarial business. You're in IT, I graduated from IT, I work in consulting, and then, I find myself. So the ability to integrate is the knowledge of tomorrow. The ability of being able to diversify, to apply the right method at the right time is the knowledge needed. More than that, what do you need is you need to make sure that you know what the business has to be integrated. And that's why in our talent triangle, there is a technical knowledge of any field, but you can no longer be in any business, in any industry, in any specialization without knowing the business acumen, the value, the benefits, the investment that has been made. And that's why project management is the closer to the business, because strategies are executed through project. So I would like to highlight what you need is, in addition to any technical field you choose, be it, as I mentioned, procurement, any specialization, the business understanding and the strategy is important. And I think you mentioned that. Other than that, people and power skills. When I studied engineering in 90s, it wasn't that important. But more and more in this work ecosystem, in the constant change, in the stakeholder complexity, in the problems that are happening, we need more and more people skills or power skills. I can invite my team to share the slides if available. And even if you look at the WEF, the World Economic Forum, top 20 skills of tomorrow, at the top, you see a complex problem solving. You see creativity, innovation. Understanding of data is no longer an option. You cannot say that I'm a lawyer, I do not need data analytics. No, you would need it. I'm a professor, I'm a doctor, I'm a cardiologist, but no, you would need it. So technology is needed. Data is needed in every single industry. So there are some core, and luckily project management is one of those. So if I were you, the one who is asking, make sure that you understand data, you understand technological enablement without being software development, you understand and get exposed of a business benefit. What's different between output and outcome? What's the benefits between deliverables on a project and output? I see those principles when I deal with people, not really clear sometimes. The difference between mission, vision, and so on. So all of these are principles for every business. And do not forget, please, the people skills. Because sometimes with all the technological advancement, one decision might change 80-20 the course of a project. So being innovative is key. Sometimes it plays 80% role in your success. We can no longer just be tight. And even we at PMI, we make sure that's a principle number one. We do not tie any offering to one industry or one methodology. And you could see PMP is applicable everywhere. Transformation should be applicable everywhere. Empathy, what do we mean by empathy? Listening to the voice of the customer, the voice of the client, all of the stakeholders that are on the project. Working as a team, you can no longer be solo on a project. So team building is essential. So all of these are some of what we call power skills, which more than ever before, you ask me why, because 5 years from now, some studies shows that 2025, the third of the current job would disappear. So no, but at the same time, the WEF and the studies mentioned that more job would be created. What does that mean? There will be more jobs for people who lead with strategy, with complex problem-solving mindset, as I mentioned, who are active learner, change makers, innovative. So more job will be for those. But whereas if you look again, there is another table, which I might not have it here, the jobs that are skills disappearing. If you are strong in administration, scheduling, the computer might be doing the job for you. So this is the balance between smart machine and smart people for better smartness, where the machine can integrate in terms of better predictability, better prevention of problems. Definitely, we all know that sensors are better than us in predicting problems. But at the same time, the human being, the human aspects is important in managing problems, the emotional intelligence, driving better effectiveness, motivation, inspiration still are the human side. So I would see people more reflecting. Let's reflect more and sense the market on what the organization and government are in need when it comes to human. Let's not focus on things that the machine would do. So that's my comment. Let us build the pure human brain where is really needed to change all of the dynamics.
I mean, I definitely fully support that. And let's take the discussion to something be more specific to your organization. They're referring to the Pmbok, the 7th edition you have. Can you please give an update about how it added some new content related to Agile and Scrum approaches? We have a specific, that's from Amgad Mizdari, and we have also on the same, from Amr, the full name is not there. What are the key differences between the current and new version? And so can you reflect on how the new book, edition is worth to buy or to refer to?
Yes, it has been changed first to stay a bit away from a tight definition of processes. So the previous 6th edition was, defining the project management in 49 processes. So now we're moving away from that to get closer to speak performance domain, to speak principles, and because we all know, and starting by being a practitioner, that it might be really challenging at every time you need to manage a project, just open these processes and just be tied to that. So there are lots of effort around being flexible, being more a principle-based versus process-based. The focus on the outcome. So the link between the effort of a project management as such, be it building a scope plan or a scope control, scheduling control, quality assurance. So the effort needs to be related to outcome. So how the project is helping the value, is getting things done. If things are been done without 49 processes, we're more than happy. Let it be. So that's the spirit around the new Pmbok, is that to give the project manager this ability to select the right approach at the right time. And there are lots of sections within every domain where you could take the Pmbok. It gives you, in an agile environment, this is what can be done. This is where a hybrid could be this, customized this way. So it gives some aspects on what would be the costing in an agile mode, what would be the strategic alignment or stakeholder engagement in a hybrid mode. So this link between when can it be predictive, when can it be agile or hybrid. So I think I really invite you, because there are lots of chapters, again, which would give you the environment, some hypotheses on environments which are not predictive, not process-based. If you look at the 6th edition, you just have the definitions, input, output, processes, and knowledge area. We changed all of this structure for the first time. There are lots of slides around that. The link is available, and I'm going to have my team to share the fast questions around the Pmbok. And if you find that this useful, we have a set of slides around the Pmbok changes. Actually, it has evolved based on research. We sensed, we survey project managers, and it has reflected what the project managers, because it's designed by project managers for project managers. So I would definitely ask you to just have a look at it and see that it definitely evolved to reflect, the new role of a project manager. Someone who is more business, the question, business analyst, someone is more business driven, more value driven, more outcome driven. We're trying to move away from prescriptive and reduce the time of a project manager to, it's at the end of the day, it's a source of knowledge, by the way. I just want to clarify, it's not a preparatory for the exam, it's a source for the exam, but it's just standards. As I mentioned, it's a mindset. This is the core for you to build upon any other specialization or growth.
Thank you. I mean, that's a very nice thing to have a set of slides that differentiate two editions. That's everyone.
We do that.
But question, for me personally, how long ago was the 6th edition? I mean, how much time?
It was usually every 5 years we changed the standards, and it's aligned with the ANSI, American National Society of Standards. So it's our standards are aligned, and we're already there is a set of journey, the whole journey and the procedure around launching standards with a beta version with the reviewers.
Okay. I mean, again, thank you for that. There's a question, how do we not turn off, like some Ahmed Abu Zaid here saying, sorry for the basic question. It's not basic. I think it's a good one. They started a career in PMI, the way they know it, right? It used to be very clear, and it's nice to have clarity in this day. We just talked about the scoping and the issues with scoping. How does he feel about his career on PMI, and how do you advise him to go about that as a PMI expert?
First, make sure, because at the end of the day, we're still Project Management Institute. I would like you to just feel familiar with project management as a practice. So we can no longer be accidental in our way of managing project. So if you don't have a PMP or CAPM, just make sure, just have a look at the kickoff. It's a new, if you haven't been yet into this profession, there is a project management ready. There are some courses, free courses online, project managers for beginner. If you are a beginner and not familiar with the real core, the foundation about it. But if you have more and more the experience in managing project, why don't you reflect on what the association talks about? Because when I used to teach project management, everybody was telling me, I was doing that, but without knowing that this is a risk register. I was doing this probability analysis. So definitely, if you are a practitioner, you would know that there is a science behind it. So it could be good to reflect on the practice versus the foundation. So again, with PMI, the entry is knowing the project management language, again, the principle, the domains, part of it, as I mentioned, strategic alignment, benefit, value, business. This is important. And then the next step for you, I'm sure that you will be challenged with managing change, or you will be part of a work environment that is constantly changing. So it would be great within just a few hours to look at a micro search. So it depends on where you are in your journey, but I would definitely advise you, and there are lots of free, by the way, knowledge in our website. Start with something free. Start with Agile for beginners, Agile for PMO, the transformational free or very discounted offering, and sense whether this is something that you need to build upon and more. And if you are an engineer in any domain, definitely look for the construction engineering, which is coming soon. So I think that's what I could tell. Do not miss any offering. Start with some application, the snippet can give you some learning. Navigator would help you assess your skills. I think the answer to Ahmed also is that it helps you build your career. It asks you clear questions, and you would be better at knowing, according to your desire and goals, what are your skills gaps. So there are lots of resources, and engage locally with PMI. Becoming a member, it really costs nothing, but it gets you just familiar with unstructured knowledge. Without really opening a book, you just download some templates, some case study on what IBM Center of Excellence leader spoke about it, what has happened in a Panama Canal, in a Concordia cruise when it was rotated, and I hope that soon we can feature the how Canal Suez Authority has solved this super mega project. So look how wonderful is you read PM Network. It's just a free magazine on your app. You just read from super mega project managers in the world. So I would start, if I was Ahmed, I would start by just reading the magazine at PMI, and then you can take it further.
Right, well, we have only 5 minutes left, and then I want to pick up on also another thread where Hosam Hathoud and maybe Wael Abdelhamid have been talking about the word agility, right? Or the word, you know, one of them wants you to explain it in one sentence, how agile mindset would work, or, and again, how agility fits in. You spoke, you know, just in your last few minutes about how inherent risk in any project has always been part of the core of PMI. You know, you don't do a project without having contingency planning and how you're going to react in what I call agile speed and a responsive manner. You know, the short time to react, to adjust and readjust, and to also, you know, read or assess the risks around you or the need to respond. So for me, that's agility. But my question is, when it becomes, you know, there's something about being agile within a project, Grace, and something about transformational change. And that's where I'm arguing with you a little bit, because I really worry if you know, so the timeline of a project could be, you know, longer, or the interlinks between that project and other strategic projects could be there. But the role of transformational leadership, or how you, you know, your strategy readjusts, is different than how you are on the ground, operationally agile to a certain performance index you had, or some kind of deliverable you wanted to have, and how you adjust. And I'm struggling, I don't know if the audience is, about why are we overpromising everything, you know, management or strategic management has to offer, and taking away from the pure agility needed for something like project management. Am I clear in my concern?
No, let me know if I understood correctly. So you're trying to differentiate between two perspectives, having an agile versus agility. So those are two different concepts. Mm-hmm. You might have an IT department, which is agile, and people are working together on a sprint mode of work, adjusting quickly. But at the same time, the organization or the government is not agile. There is no business agility as such. So these concepts are different. And I think we're celebrating recently the Agile Manifesto, because it has been a long time. And what does it mean, agile? What do we mean by agile? And it's a whole topic which we can address. But quickly, agility has always been linked with decision-making, quick decision-making. So, and it's differentiating from being agile in a project, in a sense like I have multiple teams working together and who are able to change the plan just for the sake of improving the output. So that's a project is agile, because we're not stuck with one requirement list and just calling out the testing people after 6 months where it's too late. So that's why sometimes they consider, if you have an IT which is agile, it might help you build your transformation better. So let us first separate and differentiate between those two aspects. Business agility is important in the sense of getting a better decision making. That's the core. And whether we like it or not, digitalization, data analytics, technological enablement within every unit has helped doing that. There is no just one button that let you within 24 hours or even shorter become an agile. So just take one government or one big organization, just step by step. It's a based agility. You start small and you develop the agility step by step. That's why sometimes they talk about agile, because it's one step towards a transformation and agility. Technological component is part of it. If you do not have data, take any facility. How can you be agile in managing lots of traffic or load, be it infrastructure, digital, or without having data? So that's why I'm trying to let you know, to summarize, that there are lots of aspects. There is no one equation that makes you having an agility in business. Agile is one of which: technology, project management, agility, talent, There are lots of multiple elements with a phase-based approach that let you lead with agility. That's all what I want to mention. That
I'm running out of time. I like that word phase-based because that's exactly because there are layering in this. There is always a use for data analytics and technology for the operational element, but there's
a people aspect. Sometimes people are not agile. The technology is there. People are blockers. So there are lots of aspects together.
Very nice. I mean, of course, we can. If you open in this topic, it'll take another hour probably. But thank you very much. I wanted to the comments. I hope I conveyed as much as possible combined. I know I didn't single out some of them. There's some questions about where the certifications, where they can find them. I'm sure the links that were shared throughout this presentation will guide you to answer those specific questions related to the PMI Institute. And I'm very happy to always, be able to reflect on a certain, management discipline in the School of Business here, where we can talk about, something as, it's not traditional, as 50-year-old, very important type of management and how it has evolved in the new era in light of everything we're seeing. I think you guys are doing an amazing job and you're catching up with, all business trends. And I hope, the audience here would appreciate the discussion and value it the same way I did. So thank you very much.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you. You've been, you're a great moderator. I was so honored to be with you. Thank you. So thanks for everyone who is taking that much time to be with us today.
Yes,
and please connect with us. And we're very much delighted with this strategic partnership with the AUC. Thank you so much. Looking forward for more events coming.
Inshallah. Thank you.
شكرا جزيلا. مع السلامة.